Hello, hi. Pradeep here. Let's study mental health acts. Historically, the British rule was very different from what it is today. In 1912, remember, Lunatic Act came into existence. The main purpose or the main central ideas were CCM, that is control, confine and manage only the mentally ill person and protect only one person, that is the society. Its aim was to protect the society, as it is already said, and put them into the custody so that the mental ill person will not be able to harm anyone. So main motto was to protect the society from any mentally ill person, and that is what was mainly focused on in 1912. The objectives: first is identify, put them into the mental asylum, make laws and orders related to the maintenance of that person inside the asylum, manage their properties. Very dreadfully, the properties were managed to regulate the mental institutions, whatever were running in those days. There are four main chapters. First is preliminary, second is the care and custody of the lunatics, third is management of the property and rules and regulations. In the first chapter, all definitions related to who is called as a lunatic, what is an asylum, who is a magistrate, medical officer, and so on. In the care and custody of the lunatics explains how and everything is done. Advantages, of course, there are very few advantages. First, mental health law. So, first of all, it was seen as need of time. Organized mental asylums and prevented wandering of dangerous patients all over the society itself. And this was the main motto behind the 1912 Lunatic Act, which was during the British rule. The disadvantages are many. The word itself, called as lunatic. There is a movie also made on this particular word, which is obsolete now. Treated patients like criminals, no patient rights, no consent, no treatment focus was there related to the patient. So it was like inhuman. Let's go to the next act now without wasting time. Mental Health Act 1987. It took almost 80 years for an independent India to go on set and make changes which will suit the Indian society, which will suit our community overall. Because the act which we have studied now, it was in 1912, and now the new one is amended in 1987. After independence, the Lunacy Act was found to be outdated, that is obsolete, and was cruel. And according to WHO recommendations, India introduced it in 1987. Remember, with three things: triad. Remember the triangle: care, treatment, and protection of the mentally ill. The aim was care and treatment to the psychiatric patients and to regulate the psychiatric services. So, regulation of the psychiatric hospitals, the institutions, the care providers, all that came under the same aim. The aim is very important for this particular thing because this also contains three aspects: the triad. The objectives: it replaces Lunatic Act. It also regulates the psychiatric hospitals, means who will run the hospital, how many patients, where, and what are the aspects. The legal protection to the patients who are admitted, to ensure the proper treatment and proper care of the patient, and to regulate the admission and discharge procedure. There are 10 chapters, out of which 5 chapters. First is preliminary. Always remember, every act has preliminary chapter which contains all the definitions. Second, mental health authorities, which means at central level, at state level, who will look after the hospitals. Third is the who is a hospital or a psychiatric hospital. Fourth, admission and detention, and fifth is the discharge. So the patient who is admitted has to be discharged also. Then sixth, judicial inquisition, so allowing the court to look into the matters if related to property and everything else. Maintenance of the mentally ill. Eight, very important, protection of human rights. Offenses and penalties, ninth, and then the miscellaneous. Advantages: removed the insulting terms like lunatic, the word was removed, voluntary admissions were allowed, hospital regulations improved. So, that is the time when the hospital rules and regulations were formed, and more human, or you may call it as humane care, was being provided based on this particular act. And it has its own disadvantages also. It is more doctor centered. There are limited rights for the patients. Consent system is there, but it was weak, not very profoundly strong, not fully rights based. That is, the human rights were not based on. I hope this must be clear. Now we'll go on to the Mental Health Care Act 2017. This is the latest one, and it has its core is, remember, 16 chapters. So remember 2017 16. So 2017 चे chapters किती आहेत? 16 chapters आहेत. And this act replaced the 1987 Mental Health Act. The India signed the UN Convention, that is UNCRPD, UN Convention of Rights of Person with Disabilities. So mental illness is now being seen as a right. So every patient, every person has right to be allowed to take and acquire mental care, and this was the main motto, the compliance to international human rights. So there are three aspects here also. First is rights protection, dignity, and mental health care. So the rights of the person to be protected, the dignity of that particular person as human, and mental health care to be made accessible, available to each and every person who is in need or who feels that he or she needs it. That is how it focused. The objectives: to make mental health care a legal right. Remember, in India, education is a right. So healthcare is a right, but mental health care was not a right for every human. This particular act gave that right to the patient. Second, to protect the dignity. Third, to prevent abuse and discrimination, quality health care. So all these things came under objectives. There are 16 chapters, again like in 2000, like in 1987 Act. Similarly, there are 16 chapters. First is preliminary, second is the mental health authorities, third is the rights of the person, advanced directives and nominated representatives who will be taking care of the patient's treatment and who will take decisions. Fifth is how and who will be called as a hospital, how the registration takes place. Mental health professionals, very important. This defines the duties of the healthcare staff, mental health care staff. Admission, treatment, and discharge, they included all together in this 7th chapter. There was nothing thought of emergency previously, but now in this 8th chapter related to emergencies. Ninth is mental health review boards. So review boards is related to protect the rights of the patient, to hear their complaints, protect the human rights is 10th chapter. Remember, in the previous act it was 8th, in this act it is 10th. The duties of police in 11th and 12th is offenses and penalties, relates to law and order also. 13th, finances and audit. There was no much audit thought about for the mental health care institutions, but in this act it is thought about, and hence finances are taken care here. Miscellaneous, government powers and reappeal and savings. What are the advantages? Mental health care becomes right of the person. Free government treatment, which is still being taught and being given in India. Suicide not a crime, which was penalized before. Advanced directives are allowed, so advices can be given. Insurance for the mental illness still under budding stage, but hopefully in coming years we might see. And strong patient protection. What are the disadvantages? Slightly difficult to implement. Lack of trained professional, very big question. Very less doctors, very less trained personnel, professionals. The infrastructure shortage is there, and very important, low awareness. Still, India has parts where there is no awareness. That's all about all the three chapters. I've taken references from all the above stated three books and the Government of India 2017 Mental Health Care Act. I hope all the acts must have been clarified to a certain extent. Please like, comment, and share this video and subscribe to my